All right, guys. So the left is still melting down over affirmative action being outlawed by the Supreme Court when it comes to college admissions, because people like Joy Reid believe black people are too dumb to actually get into elite schools fairly, okay, being judged by the same exact standards as everybody else, okay. They believe that black people need a booster seat and that we just simply can't compete without the government helping us out. It's really offensive and it's really dumb, okay? It really is. And I want to talk about something else dumb that Joy Reid said that I think is very personal for a lot of black people who did go to school, okay? But I want to go ahead and play a clip from her in which she claims that the Supreme Court does not want to see black people get into elite schools. I really want to talk about this. So let's go ahead and roll the clip.
A really smart friend of mine said to me this morning that what this Supreme Court ruling in affirmative action proves is that they're not against affirmative action because they're fine with it for like the well-to-do. What they're against is us. What they don't want is people who look like you and me in elite schools. I wonder how they would make the argument. How are they going to make the argument that we looked at your school class and there are too many blacks in it? That's going to be a hell of an argument to try to make, even in front of this Supreme Court, that we think you have too many, not enough white people. And now you guys are counting by race. Now that means you're looking by race and saying there are not enough white people and
That's
too many
exactly
blacks.
right. And I think Ketanji Brown Jackson kind of hinted at that at the oral argument in the case when she suggested that some of these arguments might create the opportunity for an equal protection claim that black students would bring about the way that race is used. But of course, J.D. Vance is not describing this as a legal matter. He is using this as a way of, well, I don't think he's even thinking about how this might play out in a court. What he wants is the political favor that he gets from saying the most extreme and most outrageous thing.
It is an amazing thing that anti-blackness and really open anti-blackness has become, the Republican Party doesn't feel they have to hide it anymore. They can just do it openly.
Yeah, so it's amazing how you have two Democrats on mainstream liberal media sitting here telling people that, hey, this guy, J.D. Vance, GOP, he's saying outrageous things, okay? He's saying outrageous things for political purposes while they say outrageous things for political purposes, okay? Like, for example, that the GOP is anti-black, right? Because apparently being anti-black means that you want to raise standards for black folks, right? When you say, hey, we don't want to lower standards for you, we actually want you to have the same standards as everybody else because we believe that you can compete just like everybody else, okay? When you say that, apparently that is anti-black, okay? And Joy Reid makes the claim that the Supreme Court does not want to see black people get into elite colleges and universities. Now, that's a funny statement coming from somebody like Joy Reid who claims to be so pro-black, right? She's so pro-blackly black. Okay, she's down with the team. She's soul sister number one, right? What's funny is that Joy Reid, who went to Harvard, right? And admittedly, she went to Harvard because of affirmative action, according to her, not my words, her words. She should know and understand that actually it's not SCOTUS that doesn't want black people to go to elite schools. It's actually other black people who don't want black people to go to elite schools. And what do I mean by that? Well, we all know. Because if you're a black person and you went to a elite school or a predominantly white institution, which is what they call them, PWIs, then there was a stigma against you, right? If you're black, like for example, I'm black, okay, and I went to UNC Chapel Hill, which, you know, allegedly, right, is an elite school, but, you know, at the same time, it is also predominantly white, and there was always a stigma. Other black people who did not go to PWIs, they went to HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, they would always kind of look down on black folks or question your blackness just because you went to a white school.
Side eye. Side eye.
Hold on, I got a Ku Klux Klan member on my page. Let me block this Ku Klux Klan member. Nobody's scared of y'all no more. Fuck out of here.
I've been seeing way too many videos about people at HBCUs being bullies and everybody's in competition with each other. But let's also open up a conversation about HBCUs being in competition with the PWIs right next door. And the competitions be one-sided too. So I go to a PWI or an MSI, I forgot what it's called, but basically we're too diverse to be called a PWI. So I go to that, it's called UNCG and it's in Greensboro. HBCU next door is A&T. And I just remember my freshman year, they swore up and down like they was like better than us. Like they would literally be in competition with us. We would be minding our business and they would literally be in competition with us for literally no reason. So in my freshman year, that's when I finally downloaded Twitter. Never had Twitter before, but that's where you learn a lot of information about your school. If you have questions, if you need a review on a professor, they tweet about it. I was on Twitter, and that's where I found out a lot of A&T students talk mess about the black students in UNCG. Like, they always thought it was a competition. Every time there was a recording or an event of us having fun, they would say, oh, look at them trying to be a HBCU. Oh, look at them trying to be like us, when we would literally just be having fun in our own black space at our PWI. Like, it got to the point where there was literally a rivalry that A&T literally made up in their head, and we became enemies. Now, it's one thing to be proud to be part of a HBCU as a black student, but it's another thing to literally degrade black students that chose not to go. What I'm trying to say is that there are many different reasons why black people choose not to go to HBCUs. It's really not that deep, to be honest. Like, we all just here for a degree. So as long as I get that degree, I really don't care where I go. Me going to a PWI does not make me less black, and it doesn't make you better than me either.
Okay, and that's a huge debate in the black community, right? A huge debate. I'm pretty sure Joy Reid has participated in that debate, right? Is it better for a black person to go to a HBCU, okay, or a so-called predominantly white institution, okay, which would be an elite school like a Harvard or Yale or, you know, a Stanford or whatever, right? That is what we experience, okay? That's what we experience. So what's crazy to me is how so-called pro-black Joy Reid is upset that affirmative action is being outlawed, right? When it simply just means that, hey, more black students will go to black schools, right? Which is something that she should support, okay? Because she's a segregationist, okay? Like a lot of these people on the progressive left, a lot of these pro-black folks, we all know that black people don't benefit from affirmative action when it comes to getting into HBCUs, okay? Because they're mostly black, okay? If anything, maybe a white person benefits from affirmative action when it comes to getting to HBCUs, right? So again, hey, maybe it will raise the standards for whites, making it harder for them to get into HBCUs because the HBCUs, they are minorities, okay? And maybe, just maybe, more black people will go to HBCUs, which again is what these woke revolutionaries claim they want, right? You want segregation. You want to get away from the white man. The white man's so evil, okay? The white man not treating you right. Why do you want to be near him? Why are you fighting tooth and nail to try to get into the white man's schools, right? I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense to me, right? These same people that are upset about affirmative action being overturned, these same people are the same people that will talk about how pro-black they are, how black people need to have their own thing and such and such. And maybe Joy Reid is not that type of pro-black. She claims to be pro-black. Maybe she's not that type of pro-black, but still, right? She is one of these people that she don't really like the white man. The white man has been so terrible to her. Again, the Supreme Court has said, all right, cool. Well, you know, we're going to hold black people to the same standard we hold everybody else, which apparently is going to make it harder for black people to get into some of these predominantly white institutions. And these people are mad and upset about it, right? Talking about, well, they want to keep black people out of elite schools, which is not true, right? It's not true. They just want it to be fair, right? Fairness is what was achieved when the Supreme Court decided to outlaw affirmative action. But again, these pro-black folks believe that black people are dumb. They believe that you're stupid. They believe that you can't compete against everybody else. And this is why they support this type of stuff, right? Because they want a handout. They don't want to work for anything. They don't want to take responsibility and accountability for their own actions. Guys, have you noticed? Everything that's quote-unquote anti-black involves holding black people accountable, right? If you lock up black folks for committing crimes, then that's anti-black, right? If you decide to hold black people to the same standards as everybody else in education, then that's anti-black. It's just amazing, right? It really is. It's just amazing how these people degrade themselves without even knowing it, right? They have no clue that the rest of society is laughing at them as they boohoo, whine, and complain about being held to the same standards as everybody else. It's really ridiculous, and it's embarrassing. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.